It started on a day like any other. The sky was a perfect shade of blue, the sun warming my back as I pedaled through the quiet countryside. I loved riding my bike, especially on weekends when the roads were empty and the air smelled like fresh grass and pine. I had my usual route, a loop that took me through a few familiar trails. But that day, I decided to take a different path, one I hadn't noticed before. It wasn't anything remarkable at first, just a narrow dirt trail veering off the main road into the woods. Curiosity got the better of me, and without thinking much about it, I turned down the path. The trees formed a tunnel overhead, their branches intertwined to block out most of the sunlight. The further I went, the quieter it got. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of my tires on the dirt and the soft creaks of my bike. After about 10 minutes, I came to a clearing. That's when I saw it. There was a house. I stopped pedaling, my heart thudding in my chest. It didn't make sense. This was deep in the woods, far from any other buildings or roads. But there it was, an old crumbling house with ivy crawling up its walls and windows covered in grime. The door was slightly ajar, swaying gently as if someone had just gone inside. A shiver ran down my spine. Every instinct told me to turn around, to leave and never look back. But I didn't. Something about that house pulled at me, like a string tied around my chest, dragging me forward. I leaned my bike against a tree and stepped closer. The porch creaked under my weight, and the door opened a little wider, revealing a dark hallway. The air smelled stale and damp, like wet wood and mold. I hesitated, but then I heard it. A faint sound, like whispering. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. There was no answer, just the same soft murmurs, like a conversation happening just out of earshot. I stepped inside. The floorboards groaned beneath me as I moved through the hallway. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, and the ceiling sagged in places. Cobwebs hung in thick strands, and the air felt heavy, pressing against my chest. The whispering grew louder. It was coming from a room at the end of the hall. The door was half open, and I could see a faint light flickering inside, like the glow of a candle. My heart was racing now, my breath coming in shallow gasps. As I reached the door, the whispering stopped. I pushed it open. The room was empty. No furniture, no candle, nothing but dust and shadows. The walls were covered in strange symbols, drawn in what looked like dark red paint. My stomach turned. It didn't feel like paint. Then I saw it. A mirror. It stood against the far wall, taller than me, and framed in black wood carved with intricate patterns. The glass was cracked, but I could still see my reflection, only it wasn't quite right. My reflection didn't move. I raised my hand. The figure in the mirror stayed still, staring back at me with wide, hollow eyes. My chest tightened. I backed away, my legs trembling. The reflection smiled. I turned and ran. The hallway seemed longer now, stretching endlessly as I sprinted toward the door. The walls closed in, and the floor felt like it was shifting beneath my feet. The whispering was back, louder and more insistent, surrounding me, filling my ears. "Get out," it said. I reached the front door and threw it open. The sunlight was blinding after the darkness inside, but I didn't stop. I grabbed my bike and pedaled as fast as I could, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst. The trees blurred past me, and the whispering faded with each turn of the wheels. When I finally made it back to the main road, I stopped to catch my breath. My hands were shaking, my whole body trembling. I looked back, expecting to see the trail behind me. It was gone. There was no path, no sign of the house, just an unbroken line of trees. I never told anyone what happened that day, not my parents, not my friends, but I still dream about it sometimes. The house, the whispers, the reflection that wasn't mine. And sometimes when I'm alone, I hear it again. "Get out.